Hello guys, and welcome to my new special edition video called Control Freaks. My intention is to bring you information on how to control the trucks that I drive. I'm going to be covering the gearbox, gear selection, the exhaust brakes and normal braking, and just general controls of the vehicle. Our company mainly use three different vehicles: Scanias, Volvos and DAFs. My personal favourite being the DAF. But anyway, today I'm in a Volvo 65 registered FH16 I believe. It's a fully automatic 460 brake horsepower truck, and it's got one of the new gearbox selections that have come in, as opposed to a gear stick, which is in an older edition. You used to have an I-shift gear stick, which let you manually select each mode: automatic, manual, reverse, etc. So I'll start by showing you the gears. Right. Down here is your new gearbox now. Starting from the left, we have reverse, neutral, automatic. Plus and minus is where you can manually increase or decrease each gear, moving up or down. For instance, if you're on a hill and the gearbox is taking a little longer than you need to change down a gear, you can press the minus button to drop it down a gear, and then it will pick up speed a bit more quicker. Or, it's not advisable to do it like this way because it's less economic. The automatic mode will change down a gear, but in my experiences, the Volvo is not too bad, but other trucks tend to hang really low. It all depends on the economy setting of the trucks as well. This model is also losing the power option, or I haven't found it yet, where basically you can press a button to go into like a power mode, where the gear ratios will be a lot more responsive and less economic for gaining more power. It will change down and up far sooner than it would in economy mode. There's also a button here called hold. Basically, if you're going up a hill and you're approaching the top end of a gear, i.e. the revs are getting pretty high and you know it's going to change up, you can press the hold button and it will remain in gear until you're satisfied that you want it to change up, because changing up while you're on a sharp incline can have really diverse effects. You can lose all momentum and end up maybe stopping on the hill, which is what you don't want to happen. It can also come in handy during icy conditions or snow, because obviously your speed will increase. However, if you're wheel spinning, the speed isn't actually there. So you could use that along with traction control and other forms of controls, which I'm not really going to go into in these videos, because one, I don't really have much experience using them. I don't think I've ever used the diff lock, and two, I don't feel comfortable talking about them if I haven't got enough experience. So that's the gearbox covered. Next I'll go on to the exhaust brakes, and to function the exhaust brakes on the majority of trucks other than the DAF, it's all done via a stalk on your steering wheel. It's a bit tough to get an angle on this one, so bear with me. Right, no, steering wheel's still in the way. Oh, shoddy camera work, I know. Right, on the stalk, I'll give you a closer up image of it. Right, there you go. That's the best I can do with the steering wheel in the way. Here we have our brakes for the trailer. At very slow speeds, or pretty much stationary, you can pull the lever towards yourself to operate just the trailer brakes. This is mainly used when I've just hooked up a trailer and I can just pull forward, dab on this and put the trailer brake on just to give the brakes a quick test and make sure everything's functioning okay, listening out for leaks or no brakes at all, etc. This symbol I believe is just the symbol for the exhaust brake. Right, looking up here, this is the diagram of the modes. Oh, I'm sorry. You have A, 0, 1, 2 and 3. A is the automatic mode, which is up one click, or at the very top position actually. That is, every time I put my brakes on with my foot pedal, the exhaust brake will automatically come on. Then you can move it down to 0, and this is off altogether, so there'll be no auxiliary brakes at all. And then you've got 1, 2 and 3, which is pretty self-explanatory. 1 being the least braking force, 2 and 3 being a stronger and more powerful method of braking. You also have, which I don't use very often, it's mainly like in an emergency situation, on the top you have a B. This is standing for braking mode, and it's like I say, it's normally for like an emergency stop. You push the button in and it will severely bring you to a halt. I haven't used it in an emergency situation, luckily, but yeah, it's one of the buttons that you don't mess around with, because it will throw everything off the bed and stuff like that, so it will really sharply reduce your speed. Control wise, down here you've just got the 2 accelerator and brake pedal, nothing over here. Now, as I mentioned earlier, on the DAFs you have a separate pedal for the exhaust brake, which will manually put it on, and a stalk to operate it as well, but I'll cover that when I'm in a DAF. So I hope you've enjoyed this part. I can't really think of anything else to cover regarding this vehicle. Without blowing my own trumpet, I'm in the habit of using the exhaust brake as much as I can. It reduces wear and tear on the brakes in general, the brake discs, the brake drums, all the braking system of the truck. The more you use them, the more they get worn out, and also, more importantly, the hotter they get. So you're going to keep getting heat in your brakes, you're going to keep wearing them out, and brakes, when they're hot, fade, which means they get less effective. So if you're coming down a hill and you're using the brake pedal as opposed to your exhaust brakes, you're going to end up getting a lot of heat and possibly losing some braking coming down the hill, which you don't want to happen. So I'm going to follow up this now with some footage later on with the head cam of me using the exhaust brakes in motion, and that'll be it for the Volvo part of things. Alright guys, this is going to be the driving segment for the Volvo. I apologise for it being in the dark, but I'm not sure what vehicle I'll be in next week, so I want to get this done today. You probably won't be able to see me using the controls themselves, but you'll get the idea. Excuse me. So if you watch out my Trucking Life 72, you'll understand the day I've been having. So I'm just on the way back home now on a Friday. So anyway, I'm on the exhaust brakes now, and I'll give a bit of a running commentary in a once we've after these traffic lights. Basically you just put together what I've explained previously. If you mix that in with a bit of practical and common sense, then it's self-explanatory really. So one part I must add, I'm going to do this now I've remembered. The handbrake is an important feature that I haven't included. Now, bear with me, the DAF has got a handbrake lever, and so has the Scania. Whereas this model, and maybe the newer Scanias might have, or I'm not sure, but anyway, this has a switch for the handbrake as opposed to a handbrake lever, and it's also automatic. Now by automatic I mean it releases automatically. There are circumstances when it won't release, like if the door's open, or if you have got out and got back in. I think I may be wrong on that one, but once the door's open it won't release, obviously for safety. There is a manual option how to release the brake by putting your foot on either the accelerator or the brake. I'm just putting it into number 2 on the exhaust brake now. Still got plenty of time to go and momentum, and the lights are on red anyway, so there's no point rushing up and slamming on the brakes at the last minute. I've come off the brake now, it's into automatic mode, and back into mode. I was going to do 3, but the lights have changed, so I've took it back into automatic in case I need to put some on the foot brake, but we should be able to roll through. Sorry about that, where was I? Yeah, so you can manually release the brake by pushing the switch forward while you're accelerating or braking. Let's say if you have the door open for manoeuvring or anything like other reasons I can't really think of. And to pull it on, you just pull the switch and it's on. Pretty straightforward, obviously. One thing I'm not sure about, so add comments if you know and correct me. This form of handbrake hasn't got an option to hold the brake on without actually putting it on fully. Basically, with the other ones, with a handbrake lever itself, there's two parts to the handle. You can hold it in position at the bottom, or you can click it fully into the position. Clicking it fully in obviously keeps it there, and just look at that GTR, and just holding it down will keep the handbrake on temporarily, like when you're on a hill or stopping for a short time. Right, so we're coming up to some traffic lights now, and I've got quite a big load on, so I put the second brake on. All the time just planning ahead really, taking them off now to roll, and just nice and steady. There's no rush. Now it is telling us to go straight on if we want to get to the M6, but there's no weight limit down here. It's the way I went the other day. So why is it telling us to go that way? That's not very nice of them, is it? Telling us to go the long way. Oh dear. So I was a tad late with the brake there, I'll admit. I did switch it into 3 and used a tiny bit of foot brake, not much, and we still stopped with plenty of time to spare. So yeah, I'm going the way I went the other day. Look at this little courser trying to cut the corner. You little shit. That's not a courser. Muppet. Mind you, he's got a square pipe on his little Toyota Yaris, so you've got to give him preps. Ah dear, I think I've been collared with my camera on. Oh dear. Anyway, so I think I've pretty much covered the braking. There's not really much more I can tell you all about, so I want to keep it short because it's going to be a long video as it is with another 2 trucks to do yet. So yeah, I'll catch you when I'm in a Scania or a DAF. Alright guys, we are in the Scania now. I'm thinking that I'm just going to do the Scania and Volvo at the moment with this Control Freak video. Mainly due to the fact I think I'm going to be in a Scania pretty much from now on. There aren't that many DAFs, plus I've already done the Volvo footage, so I don't really think I'll be able to get any DAF footage, but if there is, I'll put a part 2 on YouTube as soon as I get the chance. So I'll start off by showing you the controls, and you haven't got the progressive and exhaust brake selector on the steering wheel column this time. You can adjust the revs slightly by moving it up and down a gear. So once you've got the exhaust brake on, you can drop it down a gear to increase the revs, and it'll slow you down a bit more. Alternatively, you can increase the revs if, I don't know, if it's late at night and you want to try and keep it quiet or something, anything like that. There's a switch here. Let's get a close up on it. This switch here is to turn your air brake on and off. I don't know whether it's an exhaust brake as such, but I just call it an air brake, to be honest. Basically, with your foot pedal, if you put your foot on the brake pedal while that's switched on, when you first put your foot down, you'll hear it in the driving section, but you'll hear the air brake start to work, and I think that's just to accompany your foot brake. But I don't know whether they work separately. Like when you first put your foot down, I think your foot brake will be on a tiny bit, but you're mainly using your air brake until you put your foot down a lot further, and then your foot brake comes on. So if anyone wants to confirm that or deny it, just let me know in the comments. So I may be wrong. You may be able to just use the air brake if you balance your foot on to start with. So yes, what else is there? There is a foot pedal for the exhaust brake itself, and it is here. Let's just get another light on. Right in the middle of the steering wheel column. It's one of the most stupidest positions they could have ever put it. I mean, it couldn't have been more stupid if they put it up here on a piece of string. That would have probably been more useful, actually. But so basically, to use it, you've got to cock your leg inside. Like, obviously I've got no shoes on at the moment. You've got to merely cock your leg inside. So I don't know what they was thinking. Personally I think it's just a cost cutting thing, so they can put the dash over that side and just have the switch in the same place over there. That's the only reason I think that they've done it. But that's how you operate the exhaust brake. And last but not least, we have the handbrake. It's not like the Volvo, so it's not the fully electric one with a switch. So you can use this as a 2-stage handbrake. You can either have it off and hold it on like this, and then when you want to take it off, you just let go, or you can pull it all the way down like I just did there and leave it in position to leave the handbrake on fully. Also, I might as well add this other feature now. It was on the Volvo as well, but I think I forgot to mention it. Basically, this is the hill start assist. Once that's on, when you pull up and you stop, once you take your feet off the pedals, the truck will be held in position. You'll hear a beep. You'll hear it when I'm driving in the next segment, segment. It'll give you a couple of seconds to either put your foot back on the brake or on the accelerator before it releases. And surprisingly it does release, so you got no choice to react. But it's just a feature like to help you in getting your foot off the brake and onto the accelerator, or if you're on a severe hill, try and find the vice and just stuff like that. It's just an added bonus to help you with your driving, to be fair. I don't have it on all the time. One, because of my experience, and two, it gets a bit of annoying with the beeps all the time every time you stop. So yeah, I won't advise turning it off, but I don't always have it on, admittedly. So yeah, I think that is pretty much it regarding the controls. So we're going to skip to me now driving the Scania, and I'll show you a bit of an example of when to use the air brake and when to use the exhaust brake and the different effects it has. And then I think I'll release the video then. And like I mentioned earlier, if I do get a DAF, fingers crossed I do, because I love them, then I'll bring that video out as part 2. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the driving section. Alright guys, we are in the Scania, and this is going to be the driving section for the Scania, guys. Nice and empty, and I've just unloaded over there at Lidl, and can't remember, I don't think it was here where I did the Volvo, but never mind. It's only going to be a quick description really for the Scania, because there's no, as I've already mentioned, there isn't a, I've got the exhaust brake on now, preparing to stop, but right, where was I? There's no 3-tiered stalk. Basically we've got a foot brake with an air brake. I'm going to put the exhaust brake and the foot brake on now. Right, you can hear the engine. These exhaust brakes really beat the shit out of the engine, I must admit. It's my least favourite out of the others. It does sound a lot better though, the air brake. Right, so yeah, I've got my foot now. My left foot is just over the exhaust brake. I've kind of started to put my foot there when I'm just doing little runs in the city, or when I'm on the motorway. I don't need to, obviously. So I've got the exhaust brake's under my foot, and the air brake, what I've been calling it, may be something else, that's switched on. So what I'll do, I'm coming up to an island now, and I don't know how well the microphone will pick it up, but I'll open the window a touch and you'll be able to hear. I'm just going to use the brake pedal, so you'll be able to hear the air brake working as well as obviously the foot brakes, which you won't hear. So we're just coming up to the island now. I'm coming off the pedal, so we're just rolling to start with. I'm sorry if it's a bit too noisy or windy, but I just want to show you the sounds. Right, so I'm on the foot brake now, and it's kind of using an exhaust brake. You can hear, you can't really hear it, I don't think. Maybe with the door shut, the window shut. You can hear a secondary braking as well as the foot. You can hear, like, it sounds similar to an exhaust brake, similar sound, but yeah, so basically you've got the foot pedal and then you've got the exhaust brake, which basically takes the revs. I think the revs are slightly higher actually than in the others. It puts the revs, it drops it down a gear. I'll use it now. I don't know whether it would. Yeah, it is dropping it down a gear. As you can hear it, it really
boots the revs up in the engine, slows me down, and then you put your foot back on the accelerator and you've saved a bit of brakes. I'm back on the brake now because there's 2 lorries coming, so I can't get on. And back on the accelerator. Sometimes it's a tiny bit slow, and it's frustrating when you've been on the gas and on the exhaust brake. You have to give it a second or so to get into gear, to react to you wanting to accelerate. But all trucks are going to be like that. But this one just seems to take longer because of how hard the engine's revving while you're using the exhaust brake. So yeah, sorry it's been a bit of a short clip, but there isn't really that much to talk about regarding driving it. You just either use the exhaust brake or your foot brake, which has got an air brake incorporated in it. And now I'm going to switch over to the DAF, my favourite truck of them all. Alright guys, I'm in a DAF today. Yes, I love DAFs. This is a 65 plate DAF. I'm glad I've got this one, because if I'd have recorded it in the 14 plate that I was in last time, it would have been slightly different, because they used to have a pedal for the exhaust brake. But it seems like, let me just double check, definitely not missed it. Yeah, the 65 plate, they've got rid of the foot pedal for the exhaust brake, so let's show you the controls, eh, you control freaks. Right, so yeah, basically start off with the handbrake. It's one of like the Scanias. You got the 2 modes to either hold it on and temporarily lift it back off, or you can fully put it on. And the exhaust brakes on a stalk, there's no automatic mode like with the Volvos and Scanias. I may be wrong there. It's definitely on the Scania. No, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Right. Ignore the last 10 seconds. The Volvo and the Scania do have an automatic mode, whereas this one, it just goes off or on. So basically you've got it off, and then you've got 3 modes for the various different strength of brake you want. So all the way down being the strongest, and back up being off. There isn't a braking mode where it's even more powerful, so you haven't got that option. In like an emergency situation, you just whack it down, and obviously you'll use your foot brake as well. Like I've just mentioned, there's no foot pedal like on the Scania and the older DAFs. Volvo, I've never come across one in a Volvo at all. And yeah, it's got the hill start assists. It's also got a few extra functions. I've unfortunately parked it a bit stupid, so when you set your speed, you've got your controls here for your cruise control. Sorry, I'm in a bit of a shadow as well. Right. This one will set, you get up to your maximum speed, say, and then you press your set button. That'll set you at 90 kilometers an hour or 56 miles an hour. You've also got this function here. I believe it's on the Volvo, but I didn't cover it, so forgive me for that. You can set how far you want to overrun when you're going down a hill. So basically, the cruise control will limit you to your 56 miles an hour, but when gravity takes hold, like on a downhill, it will overrun a certain amount. And you can use this button to limit how much it will overrun before it will brake for you. Obviously, you should be aware of your speed at all times and be braking to not speed anyway. But due to the fact that we can do 60 miles an hour legally, we will still get a warning if we go over 56 for a longer period of time. So you can set this to like 93, or if you're set to 90 kilometers, the closest you can get to is 94 kilometers an hour. So if you get to 94, it'll start braking for you, so you don't overrun too much. This one, I believe, I don't really use it. That is to limit your top speed. So say you're in roadworks or something, you can set it at 50, and even though you put your foot on the pedal, it'll limit it at 50, so you can't accelerate too much. You can still overrun, of course. Also, when you've got your cruise control on, there's a feature on this model where you have a distance gauge. It's set at 3, I'm assuming it's 3 truck widths. I may be wrong. You can set it to 3, 2 or 1 truck width from the vehicle in front of you. Basically it's like an adaptive cruise control, so basically you'll stay 3, 2 or 1 truck length away from the vehicle in front of you, which is pretty good. It's definitely a good feature, although if you're not careful you can be following a lorry and not realise that they've slowed down to like 85, 84, and you'll have adjusted your speed without, you know, if you don't realise, you'll be sitting there behind them going slower than you actually can. There's another function here. I think that's just another one to do either your idle time, your idle speed when you're not moving, or you can maybe do your speed up and down on your cruise control. This is to turn off the emergency braking. Basically, there's a camera up here in the windscreen. It's like there is in the other trucks as well. If the truck believes you're in imminent damage, you know, you're in imminent danger to having a crash, like the poor souls who fall asleep or have a heart attack at the wheel, it will give you an audio warning, and it will start braking, unless you override the system by putting your foot on the accelerator, braking, moving, etc. That's a good feature, although 2 times it's a bit temperamental. I've had it come on to me before when I've just been going down the road and it's assumed I was going to have a crash, so you've got to be careful, because sometimes it can get a bit confused. Like say if there's someone turning off in front of you and they're slowing down and you're approaching them a bit quick, even though you know you're going to get past them and they're going to have turned off, the truck may still think, hang on a minute, you're going to hit him. So yeah, it will override you, so you've got to be on your ball. Yeah, I'll cut to some driving now, and then I should be pretty much done with the video. So this next section will be the driving part of the DAF, and you've had all 3 vehicles then. So we're nearly finished recording now, and I hope you're enjoying it and still watching the video. Hello again. This will be the driving section for the DAF. I didn't mention earlier, but it's the XF 65 registered, and it's a Euro 6 vehicle. So that's the super geeky stuff out the way. It's my favourite truck out the 3 as well, if I haven't already told you that and you don't already guess. So we've just popped a little bit of an exhaust brake on because I can see the lights have changed up ahead. What I like about this, oh there you go, there it is. It's given me a little service brakes pat on the back because I've saved the service brakes. I do enjoy being complimented on my style, and I'm currently at 72% driver score, or I don't know exactly how it's worked, but stuff like saving your brakes and that counts towards it. I don't know whether it works on your acceleration and stuff like that as well. I don't know entirely. All I know is when you I've reset it when I started driving today. It started at 35%. I don't know whether that's a default, and so far I've got it as high as 75%, but some traffic lights changed unexpectedly on me, so I had to slam the brakes on a little, not slam them, but I had to use the foot brake quite to stop, basically. So that scored me down because I'd done like a bit of harsh braking, really. But yeah, just driving well and predicting the road ahead. It says stuff like well anticipated and compliments you on that, and it's just, you know, safe defensive driving style, I guess, that it rewards. If it does your acceleration, maybe if you're a bit heavy on the foot. So anyway, I've just put it onto level 2 for the exhaust brake, so I just want to start slowing down. I am empty, so there's not too much weight pushing me, so I've turned it back off again now. I'm just rolling up the hill. I'm probably gonna have to stop, so I've just put it on 1, 2 and now 3 to try and stop. Yeah, we're gonna have to use the foot brake a tiny bit at the end, unfortunately. Ah dear. So off the handbrake and off we go, making sure you've turned the stalk back to off, because it will prompt you and remind you if you've left it on. It'll give you a little beep saying you've still got it on. We are currently coming around what we call it locally as the orbital around Cannock. It's the A5, A460 route. Just crossed over the toll road. So now I'm not really gonna try and race these lights, and there you go, they've changed. So I'd already predicted they was gonna stop, so we're on full exhaust brake now. It is quite a harsh braking, and then because we're below 20 kilometers an hour, I think that's when it stops working. So bit of a foot pedal again to stop. So we're going up here, and then we go left, and then cross over the M6 heading towards the 54. I could show you the handbrake. There you go. I'm just holding it down. I'm not fully putting it on because we're probably going to be heading off soon. He says, and obviously they're not going to. There we go. So let go. The hill start kicks in a tiny bit, and that was reminding me I'd got the exhaust brake still on. So it does come in handy, because I do occasionally forget. Watch out for the retards. So yes, the hill start will stop you going downhill. I've mainly emphasised it going uphill, but when you're on a downhill slope it will stop you as well. So I'll just record up until the next few roundabouts, really. If you're still watching, I want to thank David for giving me the request for this video, and yeah, I've enjoyed making it. I appreciate that it's not going to be to everyone's taste, because it is extremely geeky, and I'm not really expecting a lot of you to have watched it all the way through, and I really appreciate you if you have stuck with it. I hope it's been informative for you and you've learnt a bit about the controls in the trucks. You know, I'm gonna tag them all in the description, so you know, people who are just getting into the trucks might be able to search it, and they'll be able to get a bit of a taste about how to control the exhaust brakes. I've put them on number 3 and I've turned them back off again. The exhaust brake, I mean. I've put them back on 2 now, just to keep a lower speed going round the island, and back off just to coast around the island and ready to accelerate back off it. There's a truck of Alwyn's. I did try to get in with those a few months back, but they've got my CV, but not after drivers, I guess, at the moment. So we're just putting it on level 1. I'm anticipating to be traffic now for the next 2 or 3 miles all the way down to the M54. So it's going to be pretty boring. So once again, I want to thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like my Facebook page and subscribe to my channel. Leave me any comments that you think I've missed anything out, or correct me on anything I might have got wrong. And yeah, stay tuned for more features. Don't forget, I've got a daily vlog. It's up to it'll be about 81, 82 episodes by the time this one is on. So yeah, I hope you all enjoy my content, and give me a like if you do, and I'll speak to you all next time, guys. Thank you very much.